Inflation just hit its highest annual rate since 2023. Gas is up almost 30% this year, and consumer confidence just posted one of its sharpest drops in months. If your paycheck feels smaller, even though the number on it hasn't changed, you're not imagining it. Here's what's actually happening. This isn't a vibes-based complaint about the economy, it's real, current data. Inflation reports, consumer confidence numbers, household debt figures, all pointing to the same thing. The squeeze you're feeling is measurable, not imagined. So here are 10 specific reasons prices feel heavier right now, broken down one at a time, and what each one actually means for your wallet going forward.
Reason 1. Inflation is accelerating again, not slowing down. The Consumer Price Index rose 3.8% over the past year, the biggest jump since 2023. That's not a one-time spike either. The monthly increase followed an even bigger jump the month before. When inflation accelerates instead of cooling, prices aren't just high, they're actively climbing faster than most people's raises. That gap between rising prices and flat income is exactly why things feel tighter even when your paycheck looks the same. Reason 2. Gas prices are doing most of the heavy lifting. Energy costs are up nearly 30% over the past year, and gas is one of the most visible prices in daily life. You see it every single time you fill up, unlike other price increases that hide inside a grocery bill or a monthly statement. Rising fuel costs don't just hit your tank either. They raise the cost of shipping everything else, from groceries to online orders to furniture delivered to your door. Every truck that moves goods across the country is burning more expensive fuel to do it, and that cost gets passed down the entire supply chain until it lands back on you. That's why gas prices quietly push up costs across the board, even on things that have nothing to do with your car. Reason 3. Groceries keep climbing. Food prices are up over 3% in the past year alone. And unlike a lot of expenses, groceries are something you can't just skip, delay, or shop around forever to avoid. That makes food price increases feel disproportionately painful. They hit your budget every single week, not once a year like a bigger purchase would. A family that used to spend $150 on a grocery run might now be paying closer to $155 or $160 for the exact same cart of items. And that difference compounds every week, every month, all year long. It's a small number in isolation, but it adds up to real money leaving your account that used to stay in it. Reason 4. Housing and shelter costs are still climbing too. Shelter costs are up over 3% annually, and for most households, housing is already the single biggest line item in the budget, often eating up a third or more of monthly income before anything else gets paid. When your largest expense keeps growing faster than your income, it doesn't matter how well you're managing everything else. Cutting back on coffee or subscriptions can't offset a rent or mortgage payment that's climbing every single year. The math gets harder every month, and it's the one category most people have the least ability to quickly change or downgrade. Reason 5. Even stripping out food and energy, prices are still rising faster than they should. Core inflation, The number that excludes the more volatile categories like gas and groceries is still running well above the Federal Reserve's target of around 2%. That matters because it shows the price pressure isn't just a temporary energy spike that'll fade once oil prices settle down. It's broader than that, touching things like healthcare, insurance, services, and everyday goods that don't swing around as dramatically. When even the stable categories are running hot, it's a signal that this isn't a short-term blip. It's a more structural, longer-lasting kind of pressure on your budget. Reason 6. Total household debt is still climbing, even as some individual balances dip. Total debt across the country rose to nearly $19 trillion. Credit card balances did drop slightly this year, but that's mostly a seasonal pattern from paying down holiday spending early in the year. It happens almost every January and February. Balances are still up significantly compared to a year ago, and interest rates on that debt remain near record highs, meaning even a small balance carried month to month costs more in interest than it would have just a few years back. So while the seasonal dip looks like good news on paper, the bigger trend underneath it hasn't actually reversed. Reason 7. Borrowing is expensive right now, and it's staying that way for a while longer. With rates elevated to fight inflation, everything from credit cards to auto loans to mortgages costs more to carry than it did just a couple of years ago. That means people who need to rely on credit, which rising prices are pushing more and more people to do just to cover everyday essentials, end up paying even more on top of already higher prices. It's a double hit. The thing you're buying costs more, and the money you borrow to buy it costs more too. Reason 8. Confidence in the economy just took a real hit. Consumer sentiment dropped sharply this past month, falling to one of its lowest readings in recent memory after 2 straight months of slowly improving. And it's not just how people feel about right now. Expectations for inflation over the next year actually rose as well. That shift in confidence changes behavior in real, measurable ways. Some people pull back and spend more cautiously, worried about what's coming next. Others do the opposite entirely, buying now before prices climb even higher than they already have. Either way, that underlying uncertainty becomes its own quiet source of financial pressure, separate from the prices themselves. Reason 9. For a lot of households, income simply isn't growing at the same pace as costs are rising. Even when raises do happen, they often lag well behind the real day-to-day increase in expenses, especially in categories like housing and food that make up the largest share of a typical budget. That lag between wages and prices is the core reason the exact same paycheck buys noticeably less than it used to. It's not that people are earning less money on paper, it's that everything surrounding that income is quietly costing more each time they spend it. Reason 10. More people are leaning on point-of-purchase financing to bridge the gap between what things cost and what they actually have available. Short-term plans like Pay in 4 have become an increasingly common way to manage that difference. It can genuinely help cover a purchase in the moment, but it also means future income is already spoken for before it even arrives in your account, which quietly tightens the squeeze even further down the line. None of this means you're managing your money badly. It means the actual math has gotten harder for almost everyone at the exact same time. Understanding what's really driving that pressure is the first real step to making decisions that protect you. instead of just reacting to how expensive everything feels. Subscribe for more breakdowns like this one.